Okay, this is only 10 minutes long. Again, this is a video that Baja sent me. This is Alexander Grace, who I'm not familiar with. Apparently cannot afford a real microphone, so instead they have just zip-tied a lapel mic to a stick. Do you guys see that? It's like a zip-tied lapel mic, or it's just clipped on to some kind of stick, which is weird. If you want a mic to hold, get a mic you hold. What? Anyway, this is entitled, She Has to Love You More Than You Love Her. Yikes. I'm yikesing already.
So this video that we're about to watch is about how a relationship is not like...
Let's see. This says, Summer, 41 years old, 3 children, sports psychology consultant. Sarah, 42 years old, 2 children, Hakomi psychotherapist for women. What is Alexander Grace? Let me look at this channel and see what the about section says. Can you guys probably can't see that. Yeah. I accidentally got that out in a different tab. I'll read it anyway. The description of Alexander Grace's channel says, From the science of evolution, I explore the biological and psychological differences between men and women. The purpose is so that high-quality individuals can find each other and have healthy and functional relationships. The ethics I espouse are largely inspired by objectivism. Oh, Ayn Rand strikes again. Ayn Rand, I'll get you next time! Not interested in the bitterness or hatred towards women, I completely reject all forms of sexism. I understand that criticizing negative female behaviors can appear to be misogynistic, but the only intention is to help good, kind men avoid abusive relationships with low-quality women. High-quality women are amazing and deserve praise. All women featured on this channel are willing participants in the interviews and signed legal consent forms to allow the footage to be used. If you would like to reach me, please send me a DM over Patreon. Unfortunately, I don't have time to respond to all of the emails I receive. Email, blah, 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 email information. Toeen24, that Mike means he's trying harder than Doyle and Jeremy combined. I don't know about that. The Hakomi method, this is their website or something. Hakomi Institute, the Hakomi method. Therapy is first about discovering. It's about who you are and about what your deepest emotional attitudes are. It's not just about who you think you are. It's not an opinion. It's not something you can know with the intellect. It's about who you are in the very heart of yourself. That's the flavor of psychotherapy. Discovering yourself, discovering your real attitudes towards the most important pieces of your life. Ron Kurtz, Hakomi founder. Hakomi Mindful Somatic Psychotherapy was first created in the late 70s by the internationally renowned therapist and author Ron Kurtz. In 1981, to develop the method and promote the teachings of Hakomi, Ron and a core group of therapists and educators founded the Hakomi Institute. Today, Hakomi trainings and workshops are presented throughout the world in North America, Europe, Japan, Latin America, Australia, and New Zealand, integrating scientific, psychological, and spiritual sources. Hakomi has evolved into a complex and elegant form of psychotherapy that is highly effective with a wide range of populations. The method draws from general systems theory and modern body-centered therapies, including Gestalt, psychomotor, Feldenkrais, focusing, Ericksonian hypnosis, neurolinguistic programming, and the work of William Reich and Alexander Lowen. Core concepts of gentleness, nonviolence, compassion, and mindfulness evolved from Buddhism and Taoism. At its most basic level, Hakomi is the therapeutic expression of a specific set of principles: mindfulness, nonviolence, unity, organic, and mind-body integration. These tenets inform every aspect of the work, and the first concern of Hakomi training is that our students embody these principles. It sounds almost culty. It sounds kind of culty, but like with a coat of psychological paint on it. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to hide that it's a cult over it being like some kind of psychological thing. Could be wrong. The Hakomi method is a form of mindfulness-centered somatic psychotherapy developed by Ron Kurtz in the 1970s. Approach and method. The Hakomi method combines Western psychology, systems theory, and body-centered techniques with the principles of mindfulness and nonviolence drawn from Eastern philosophy. Hakomi is grounded in 5 principles: mindfulness, nonviolence, organicity, unity, body-minded holism. These 5 principles are set forth in Kurtz's book, Body-Centered Psychotherapy. Some Hakomi leaders add 2 more principles, truth and mutability. The Hakomi method regards people as self-organizing systems, organized psychologically around core memories, beliefs, and images. This core material expresses itself through habits and attitudes that tend to guide people unconsciously. Hakomi is a method for helping people discover and recognize these patterns. The goal is to transform their way of being in the world through working with core material and changing core beliefs. Blah, 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 blah. Notes. The sources are literally just his own book and then another book co-authored by him. That concerns me. It feels like a page put together by people who perform it. I don't know.
Likely to succeed unless the woman likes the man more, at least at the beginning of a relationship. So,
yikes!
We're going to watch the video and then I'll get your reaction at the end.
Would you ever date a man less ambitious than yourself?
I think men should push you to be the best person you can, and I wouldn't want to date a man less ambitious than me.
I'm not... Everyone can have their own standards, and that's perfectly fine, but I don't see those two things as incongruous. Like, having a partner that pushes you to be the best version of yourself doesn't mean they have to be more ambitious than yourself. Those are 2 independent variables, and I don't see how one... I can see how one might inform the other, but I don't see how them innately being more ambitious than yourself is required for them to push you to be a good person or a better version of yourself. Like, you can both be ambitious individuals, and I feel like the idea of even just saying general ambition is going to be muddy at best. Ambitious about what? Some people are ambitious about their careers. Some people are ambitious about their hobbies or other pursuits. Some people are more ambitious about their personal and interpersonal relationships, and that's fine. Saying that someone just has more ambition, kind of vague.
Because you don't really want anyone that hasn't got any ambition to go anywhere, do you? Or they won't be able to drive you, and you won't be able to motivate each other.
What is a good predictor of relationship success? Well, if you look online, you're going to find articles that say things like mutual trust, shared values, good communication skills. We also know that things like having a healthy self-esteem and a low partner count all contribute towards a relationship success. But in today's video...
A low partner count. Yikes.
I'm going to share with you one extremely important predictor of future relationship success that is not at all PC. This video is probably going to make a lot of people angry. They're probably in the comment section already. I take no particular pleasure in this, but we need to deal with reality. I would call this an essential ingredient. So if you want your relationship to thrive, you need to have this element. She needs to like you more than you like her.
Why? Why would you want that? I'm not going to say that in every relationship, and this is even something you can measure, so it's kind of a weird thing to even talk about. Like, I'm sure if we somehow had a way of measuring how much one person loves another person, I would imagine relationships would have, like, somewhat differing, like, levels. Although I'd imagine in most relationships, they're about the same, right? Why would it be your ideal to be in a relationship with someone who loves you more than you love them? That sounds awful. Why would you want that?
She should be more invested in the relationship than you are.
What? Why?
If she is, then there is a good chance that the relationship is going to work. If she's not, and you're the more interested party, there is a good chance that the relationship is not going to succeed. I know that that sucks, and that it seems like it's just one of these cruel jokes.
It's not that I mean, it does suck, but it's also just not true? Why do you think, and I'm sure you'll go on to explain, but I need to illustrate, at this point in the video, you've offered no reason for me to think that what you're saying is true. So it just comes off as weird?
In the universe. Why is it that when you like something a lot, it seems to move away from you? But unfortunately, reality doesn't care about our abstract notions of what's fair. And trust me, if you want your relationship to succeed, you need to make sure that she likes you more than you like her.
Why? Why would the gender of the person in the relationship who has stronger feelings have some sort of correlation to successful or non-successful relationships? Colston with 15 bits. The reason why is because she'll be more attracted to you if you like her less. One day you should go do a MGTOW deep dive because their lingo is insane. Ugh.
Okay, so let me explain why this is and also add some caveats. Understand that it doesn't need to stay this way. And it won't. As the relationship progresses and you develop more and more trust with each other, you invest more time, create shared memories. As long as things continue to go well and you both maintain your self-esteem and remain committed to being high quality people, then the difference in who likes who more is going to start to fade. Eventually, in a healthy long-term relationship, both people are going to like each other the same amount. But it doesn't start that way.
Why?
To begin with, she needs to like you more.
Why?
The biological facts of the situation is that parental investment from women is way more intense than it is for men. If she gets pregnant, then she is massively vulnerable. She has 9 months of carrying this fetus around, and even after she gives birth, she has to look after that child. She can't go hunting, she can't build her own shelter. She relies on other people to ensure her own survival.
Hey, bud. I don't know how to break this to you, but as the Joker pointed out so eloquently, we live in a society. It's not 10,000 BC. People aren't hunting for their meals anymore, bud. Logarth with 10 bits. High quality people is a dog whistle too. Woof, woof, woof.
Now, of course, there should be a man in the picture. Somebody...
I don't even need to say current year argument. How about current millennia argument?
helping raise the child and providing for the family. But physically, a man doesn't get pregnant and he can always leave. Many men do. The end result of this discrepancy in our biology means that men are just less invested in their partners than women are. That's natural. For a
That's disgusting.
woman, especially a pregnant woman, her man is everything. The man is the one who protects them. He's the one who feeds them, the one who shelters them.
You know that there are relationships where this isn't the case, right? There are people who have, like, stay-at-home dads and a mother who, like, is the breadwinner. Like, doesn't that put a wrench in the entirety of your belief system that that exists? Why do you think that human beings are still slave to some, like, ancient weird drive that's like, me get pregnant, me need man bring food? Like, no, that's not how people are socialized, and that's not how people live their lives nowadays. So, why do you think you should use that as an organizing principle for your relationships when it's been outdated for centuries?
Without him, she would be vulnerable to violence, rape, starvation. She needs the man to stick around in order for her to be safe. And with so much riding on that, you can see that the choice of partner is probably the biggest choice that women are ever going to make. If a
Look, the choice of partner is one of the biggest decisions anyone is going to make. It's not about being a man or a woman. If you decide to spend your life with someone, that's a huge decision, right? But acting as though because someone's a woman, that is automatically the biggest decision they will ever make is fucked up. That's really, really backwards thinking. And I hate people like this who try and wrap up their weird sexist ideology and be like, this is a bio-truth. This is just evolution says that this is the case, even though it doesn't. It doesn't say that at all. They just think that if they, like, reskin their weird MGTOW sexist ideology in, like, a wallpaper of, like, oh, evolution, biology, hunter-gatherer, these are all concepts people think are vaguely scientific. they think that it makes their argument look stronger. And to a lot of people who are stupid, it does, unfortunately. Even though they've not really evidenced any of the claims they're making. As long as they say, like, oh, this is just this is a biological truism. This is, you know how evolution's a thing? This is a thing related to that, even though it isn't. No. Bud, not gonna fly here.
The woman makes a...
Stone Core Bell with 20 bits. It's just so stories through a it's just so stories through a pseudoscience lens. So stories. I don't know what that means.
wise choice and chooses a really good guy, a sensible, reliable, strong man. That can be amazing. It means an entire lifetime of happiness, of security. But likewise, if she chooses a loser man, somebody who can't be trusted, somebody who's not reliable, somebody who's weak, she can live her entire life in...
Oh, just so stories. It's like fables, things you just know. Ah, gotcha.
absolute misery.
I haven't really heard that turn of phrase, just so stories.
In a worst case scenario, back in Tribeman days, choosing an inferior male partner actually means death, both for her and her children. Now,
hey, good news, Alexander. It's the year of our Lord 2020, and that's not how things work anymore. So you can throw this all in the trash.
If you've been connecting the dots, around this time you'll start to think, but this doesn't make sense. If she's so concerned with her survival, then why is it that she wouldn't want to be with a man who has the strongest level of devotion to her? Surely if the man likes her more than she likes him, that means that he's utterly infatuated with her and is definitely going to stick around and provide. It would seem as though women should have a preference for the man who has the strongest preference for them.
It's almost like you can take this sort of biological essentialist bullshit and apply it in any way you see fit, because none of it's based on actual evidence and you're just using it as an excuse to make your argument look legitimate. Like, I could, again, use what you just said and said, well, it seems like it should be that way. Well, what if I just said that? What if I just did what you're doing and I said, well, obviously women, because they are looking for strong men to protect them and they want devotion, then really women should want men to love them more than the woman loves the man. And if I say, oh, it's just biological essentialism, it's common sense, then my argument has exactly the same level of evidence that you have provided, which is to say none. All you've done is argue, I think this is true, here's how I think it relates to evolution, which is not an argument, because you haven't evidenced that evolution actually dictates that women behave this way relative to their male counterparts. No, anyone can do this. Anyone can do this. Like, what if I said, like, well, you can do this with any concept. Imagine if I started going on the internet and I said something along the lines of, biologically, women can only have one child at a time, but men can just be, spreading their genetic material to all sorts of different women. So biologically, as a truism, men should just sleep with a lot of different women, and actually monogamy is terrible, and anyone who thinks it is going against evolution. Rightfully, people would be like, what are you talking about? That's not how people work. Like, just because you say, oh, this is a biological truth, doesn't mean it is the case, right? Rightfully, I would be criticized for that, just like this guy should be. You can't just take any random fringe argument that you have and try and wallpaper it with like a Darwin coat of paint and be like, oh, my argument's legitimate now. I invoked evolution. I win.
But it's not that simple, and women intuitively understand that it's not that simple. You have to ask the uncomfortable question, what kind of man is more devoted to a woman than she is to him? And the answer is a weak man. Psychologically...
And there's a leap. Why do you associate a man who loves his partner, who is devoted to his partner, with weakness? Why are you associating these two things? This is something an incel says. This is something a MGTOW weirdo says. Why are you, who's trying to position themselves as, oh, I'm not MGTOW, I'm not an incel, I'm just using biological truth to tell people how relationships should be. How can you say this when saying something as vacuous as, if you're a man and you care about your partner, you're weak? Think about that. Really. Really think about that and get back to me.
We know that a man who puts a woman at the center of his world has probably got self-esteem issues.
Loving your partner means self-esteem issues. What?
Has probably still in need of some kind of psychological validation. He probably has attachment trauma left over from his childhood and is still looking.
Or he's a human being who is in love with a partner that they care about. What? Actually, did you... I honestly thought it would be harder to talk about this guy than it is. It really isn't. Oh, you actually care about your girlfriend? Attachment trauma. You sound like an idiot.
Looking for some kind of mother figure. For a man to be more dependent on a woman than she is on him is not normal. It indicates that something has gone wrong with this man, and women know that. Women don't want to be the same.
Why are you associating with caring about someone as dependence? Do you understand that you could have healthy connections to other people that aren't caused by trauma?
Center of a man's world. They don't want to mother their boyfriends. That's not what they're looking for. So yes, the man who likes her more than she likes him might stick around. He might be utterly devoted, but if he's a
MMO addicted with 10 bits. So you have normal human emotions that are not scarred, not a scared sociopath? Pretty cringe, bruh. Andrew Dickerson with 18 bits. It's because wife bad. This is the mindset created by boomers who hate their wives with a passion, and this guy is just trying to give a scientific explanation. Yeah, seems a little bit like it.
weak man, well, what's the point? Is he going to be effective in his masculinity? Is he going to be strong? Is he going to be capable? Women certainly don't think so, and they're not wrong. You see, women are intuitively aware of their own limitations. They see all of the chaos in the outside world, and they intuitively know they're not up to the task. All these struggles and obstacles.
He's unironically making the argument that, actually, the women's, all the women out there, did you know that intrinsically they know their shit and can't deal with the real world like an adult? How can you argue this unironically and not realize what a jackass you sound like?
They feel inferior in the face of all of that. That is what a man is for. To provide strength, to provide leadership, to help her get past all of those struggles. So
hear that, every female congressperson or prime minister? Fuck you! Get back in the kitchen. It's the man's job to lead. Men doing a great job. That's why there's never been any wars in history. That's why there's been very little conflict. There's been very little destruction. It's all been good. This is really good.
A man that seems more dependent on her than she is on him seems weak, pitiful, contemptible. She thinks, yuck, what is the point of this man? I'm looking for a guy who can protect me. I'm looking for a guy with strength. And
how about they're a human being that you have a connection with? What is this? This is so weird to me. Like, again, I'm trans. So I guess I just can't relate to like a cis dude. I'm a trans woman. Why would men be okay in society with being told, oh, by the way, just so you know, it's your job. This is why I don't understand sexism either, because a lot of it is so slanted in such a way that it not only hurts women, but it hurts men. Imagine being told in society, by the way, just so you know, it's your job to do everything. You gotta go to work. You gotta pay the bills. You have to go to war. You are the leader. And if we're getting mugged, you're the one who gets stabbed. And they're like, yeah, this sounds good. This sounds really good. Why? These backward, like, conservative gender roles harm everyone. This is what I don't understand. Why be on board with this? Antipodian Squid with 100 bits. I wonder how this guy feels about non-binary people and where they fit in relationships. I'd imagine he just doesn't think non-binary people exist. Yeah.
Independence. But in this weak man, I don't see any of that. All I see is this devotion, which doesn't feel good. In fact, it feels parasitic. Now, there is no...
Ladies, is it parasitic when your boyfriend or husband loves you? Yeah, nothing gets me drier than the love of my partner.
no shortage of guys out there who are ready to demonize women. They say things like, I gave her everything, I was completely, utterly devoted to me, and she didn't care for me at all. She just took it all for granted, and she dumped me. This is proof of how cruel and heartless women are. But the fact that she breaks up with men like that doesn't prove anything. This is just biology, and trust me, you're
it's
a man,
just
right?
biology. I don't have to justify any of the things I'm saying as long as I just say, this is just biology. Genius. It's the best dodge in the history of dodges.
Right now, but if you were born into the body of a woman, you would have the exact same instincts. I know that it seems counterintuitive, but if you hold back at the beginning of a relationship and don't seem too keen, not too ready to commit, that's actually a good thing. She will be grateful for what you're doing. You're not being mean for holding back. That's what she wants. You're doing her a favor. By demonstrating your independence, you are reassuring her that you're a top quality guy, somebody who she is
I
safe
didn't notice
to
that.
invest
The
in.
Patreon says it includes not safe for work content. What content does this guy have that's not safe for work? Yikes.
If you want your new relationship to work, she should be the one texting you more often. She should be more keen to hang out all the time.
Hey, how about this? How about you talk to someone like a human being? None of this playing hard to get bullshit. Does anyone even like the, game playing in terms of dating? No one likes that stuff except for psychos. Just talk like a human being to another person. Stop trying to play, games and being like, oh, I need to navigate these biological truisms. Just talk like a person.
The one pressuring you for a label for your relationship.
Private consultations available. Ooh.
Wanting it to be exclusive. In summary, she should be the one chasing you. She should like you more than you like her.
This is so weird, too, because he's framing this as some sort of biological essentialism when it flies in the face of traditional relationship dynamics. Traditional relationship dynamics, as they've existed in the United States, don't tend to be women chasing men. It tends to be men chasing, courting women. And that's not, good either. I think you should do whatever you want in terms of, if you're interested in someone, regardless of your gender, you should go ahead and, pursue them in a reasonable adult fashion, as long as they're receptive. And if you get a no, that's a no, and you back the fuck off like a normal human being. But, this idea that actually, did you know women should be pursuing you is counterintuitive to the traditional conservative viewpoint that men are dominant and therefore should pursue and have interest in women and then court them into having interest in return. So even though he's framing it as a biological essentialist worldview, it's antithetical to what is the traditional biological truism in terms of, conservatism in the West. It's very strange.
Said before, it won't stay this way. In a long-term relationship, if you're both high-quality people, that discrepancy will fade and you'll both like each other equally. At that point, in an emotionally mature relationship, the idea that one person likes the other person more and there needs to be this difference, it just seems completely ridiculous. But at the start of a relationship, it is not ridiculous. It is very, very important. She wants to admire you. She wants to respect you. She wants to feel as though you are better than she is. That's what she wants. So give it to her.
No! No! No one wants in a relationship to feel intrinsically that, for one thing, painting anyone, and I shouldn't even say no one, because I'm sure there are some people who feel like this. There's like 8 billion people on the planet. There's almost 8 billion people on the planet. Trying to cut them in half by like gender and saying this half wants this, this half wants that, makes you look like an idiot because you're speaking for literally 4 billion people. UNVKN OPIV. Sorry if I'm Uvican OPIV. If that, I'm not sure which it is. Thank you for following. Welcome to the stream. Taking 50% of the population being like, this 4 billion people like this and this 4 billion people like this is stupid and reductionist. People are... unique is probably not the right word, because there are groups of people who more or less you could put in like certain groups and say these kind of people like this, and you're literally defining them by the thing you're defining. I'm not saying you should correlate like someone's race or gender or religious beliefs or anything to some other. I'm saying, like, let's say someone likes their partner to be more dominant, then those people like that, and they're distinct from other people despite the fact that other people might share their gender, right? The idea that you're saying all people in this group like this in relationships is stupid unless you're literally talking about these people who like this. Asinine. Hello, Daddy Sume. Welcome.
My first thoughts are like, fuck you.
Oh, good. Yeah. That's pretty much my first thought, too. I didn't want to say that, but thank you.
Fair enough. Your first thoughts, are they the same?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, so that's a strong reaction. Let's expand. Why should we fuck me?
Well, I think if we were to strip away that whole middle content of your video and just go at the beginning and at the end, I think the point that you make is probably pretty accurate according to what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. When I first meet someone, I am instantly drawn to characters of strength. Somebody who's going to hold me in their arms and support me, right? Yeah. Somebody who's going to protect me against the baddies.
I was traveling with this older man, and he was 50. And he said, oh, young guys, like, they're stupid. They'll all just, his term was, do their balls in over you. They'll just, you know, and he's like, and then you're just not interested, are you? And I'd never heard that term before. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's what it is. Like when they're just suddenly like a puppy dog and you know, and.
No one likes desperation, but that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about people harassing you constantly when you're not interested. He's talking about literally in any situation having less care for someone in a relationship with you than they have for you. That's very strange, and he's gendering the concept.
And there is a thing in a relationship where I'd then be a bit like, oh, okay, that's enough, you know, and I'd start seeking out for that kind of stronger sense of leadership again. So I can relate to what you're talking about.
I reckon we'll have...
Well, there you go. He found 2 women and had a long conversation with them, and then he edited down 30 seconds that made it sound like they agreed with him, except for the part where they said, fuck you. So he nailed it. Good job. Is that your... should I get my own microphone stick? I guess I don't need one. I have an actual microphone, but kind of want a microphone stick.
Have to agree to disagree on that one, because I think that devotion and like over-the-top devotion is so much more unattractive on a man than it is on a woman, and that there's a huge gender disparity that a man will tolerate a lovesick woman because he's got his own stuff kind of going.
They're not even agreeing with him. Why did he put them in the video?
On just a lot more naturally.
He's literally mansplaining this. This is what mansplaining is, if you want to know. He literally was alone in a room and he said his thing, and then he showed that to them, presumably because they're talking about the video, so I think he just showed them what he recorded over here. And then they're saying, no, I mean, there's some concepts in there that I might agree with, but on the whole, you're wrong. And he's saying, actually, penis haver here, I think I know better than you.
Lovesick man is just gross to women. That's been my experience, and I'll let Summer comment on that one. Do you disagree with me?
I don't.
That's certainly a cut.
I don't know. Like, it's just. I think it really depends.
Oh my god, and he fades out just as she's about to qualify and probably disagree with him. Oh, this guy's terrible.
No rash.
Hello. Welcome to the Chud bookmark folder. Look at his banner. Oh boy. I feel like this guy, in terms of lol cow, I feel like we can probably milk him a little bit. So we'll come back to him another